Most people think prompting is just typing stuff like write an email or give me 10 ideas. But prompting isn't just about throwing tasks at a tool. It's not clicking around. It's not random commands. It's about clarity and outcomes. And if you don't learn how to think in prompts, you could get outpaced by the people who do. If you stay with me until the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly how to think in prompts, not just use them. You'll discover how to turn vague ideas into clear instructions, how to structure your thinking for better AI results, and how to use prompting as a real skill, not just a trick. Whether you're brand new or already experimenting, this is the kind of clarity that will set you apart. So if you're ready to shift how you use AI, not just play with it, let's dive in. See, most people still treat prompting the way they treat Google. They type something in, hope it works, maybe tweak it a little, or they chat casually like it's a friend, get weak results, and then say the AI is broken. But let me explain something. Copywriting isn't typing, it's persuasion. Coding isn't typing, it's building logic. And prompting? It's not just typing either, it's structured thought. Prompting at its core is imagining the result in your mind, then translating it into a language your AI partner can interpret and carry out with precision. I see it as a kind of communication bridge between human intention and machine execution. And right now, in 2025, this is becoming the new power language. Because if you can't explain clearly what you want to intelligent systems, chances are you'll soon be taking orders from someone who can. For a while, I genuinely worried that AI would make people stop using their brains, that we'd hand everything over, outsource our thinking, and slowly lose that edge. I imagined mental muscles shrinking from lack of use, like a leg in a cast. But now, I've realized something else. AI doesn't kill your thinking. It puts it under the spotlight. It makes your logic visible. It forces your thought process to be clean, clear, and sharp. The gap between people who coast and people who compound isn't the software they use. It's their ability to define what they really want. Because prompting doesn't eliminate the need for a brain. It trains it. It trains you to unpack your goals into clear steps, to turn messy ideas into outcomes, to speak with intention instead of noise. That's the shift now. It's not about fancy tools. It's not about complex commands. It's about sharp thinking, converted into action. And sadly, most people won't get this. They'll keep scrolling. They'll ask ChatGPT to finish their homework or fix their resume. But the people who truly understand how to think in prompts, they'll launch businesses. They'll ship products. They'll start movements, because they'll be operating with leverage most others can't even see. Let's take a step back. Every major tech wave had a gateway, an interface that quietly gave rise to a new class of power users. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, that tool was the spreadsheet. A basic grid, nothing flashy, but it made raw data readable. And the people who understood how to use it, they made the decisions that mattered. Think about that. Entire careers were built on Excel. I know because I trained as an auditor. I ended up working in consulting. And it wasn't just us, CFOs, analysts, operators, all kinds of professionals won big. Not because they were brilliant, but because they could translate numbers into formulas that moved companies forward. Today, that gateway isn't Excel anymore. It's the prompt box. The interface is smaller, smoother, cleaner. But don't be fooled. What's simpler isn't always easier. Because inside that little box sits your ability to direct intelligence. And the people who master it, they won't just speed up their work, they'll multiply their thinking. Because if you've been paying attention, you already know this. Prompting is the new leverage. And learning how to prompt well is how you unlock high-leverage thought. Now let's take this a layer deeper. If prompting is really a form of thinking, then what kind of thinking actually gets results? Because let's be honest, not every thought leads to something useful. Some create clutter, others create clarity. And clarity is where leverage begins. The best prompt writers don't just know how to talk to AI, they know how to organize thinking. They think in building blocks, in mental models, in systems, in frameworks. They use things like first principles and structured reasoning, not because it sounds cool, but because it works. These aren't just productivity buzzwords, they are the raw ingredients of effective prompts. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what we do in our business. I'll show you how we turn abstract ideas into specific prompts, how we chain prompts to solve bigger, messier problems, how we use something called metaprompting to build faster and smarter. And if you've never done any of this before, don't worry. I'll even show you a course that'll help you learn how to build this kind of thinking from the ground up. So let's get into the first principle. First principles thinking. Most people prompt like they Google. They guess, they type, they hope. But the most effective AI users, they think like engineers or scientists. They don't ask, what's the typical prompt for this? They ask, what's the outcome I really want? And what inputs get me there? One of the sharpest mental tools you can use is called first principles thinking. It's one of the oldest and still one of the most powerful ways to attack a problem. Aristotle used it to find fundamental truths. Charlie Munger used it to navigate complex markets. And Elon Musk used it to rethink rockets and energy from the ground up. So what is it? First principles thinking means you stop copying what already exists. You break things down to their base elements, the stuff that doesn't rely on assumptions or habits, and you rebuild your solution from there. And when it comes to prompting, this is your first major edge, because most people try to replicate what's already been done. But first principles thinkers, they reverse engineer better prompts from scratch. They don't say, how do people usually do this? They ask, what is this problem made of? And how do I get to my ideal result in a way that makes sense from the bottom up? That's the power of it. If prompting is a new language, a translation layer between human clarity and machine output, then first principles thinking is your grammar. It helps you break down messy outcomes and turn them into usable instructions. Let me show you how we do this. Whenever we write a complex prompt, we define 6 core components before we type anything. 1. Goal state. What change do we want? E.g., turn messy notes into a polished LinkedIn post. 2. Source material. What's the input or data that must stay intact or be transformed? 3. Constraints. What rules, limits, tone, or content boundaries are in place? 4. Process instructions. Should it think in steps, follow a structure, or use analogies? 5. Validation signals. What does good look like? Are there examples, formats, or checklists? 6. Iteration plan. If it's off, what's the process? Retry, show edits, ask clarifying questions. And here's the thing. If you skip even one of those, you're not designing with precision, you're guessing. An AI? It can't optimize for something you didn't define. Let me give you a real example. We were recently hiring a new accountant for our team. Now, the default approach would be to ask, write a job description for an accountant in a small company. And sure, it would give you something serviceable, but did you know the average prompt people use is less than 9 words? You can't get quality from that. We don't operate like that. We paused and thought deeply first. What results will this accountant be responsible for? What systems will they manage? What's our unique business context? What kind of person do we want to grow with? And how do we speak to that person directly? Then we crafted the prompt. Write a job description for an accountant joining a fast-paced media company where AI tools are integrated into all workflows. The role includes ownership of financial reporting, automation oversight, and forecasting. Use a tone that speaks to proactive, detail-focused professionals who want to grow inside a smart, lean team. Include 3 cultural traits that reflect our values. What came back wasn't just a job post. It was a filter. It was a magnet. It was alignment. We didn't waste time going back and forth. Because when you think first and prompt second, the results speak for themselves. Now here's the good part. You don't have to figure this all out alone. Google's Prompt Essential Specialization is an amazing starting point. It's built by their AI division, the same team behind Gemini, Workspace AI, and AI Studio. This isn't just a play with prompts type of course. It teaches you how to actually think and communicate with AI. You'll learn a 5-part framework that works across all kinds of tools: text, image, code, and multimodal systems. The framework is simple but powerful. Task, context, references, evaluate, iterate. You don't need a tech background. You don't need to know how to code. And it only takes about 9 hours total. The course is split into 4 practical modules. 1. Writing better prompts. Clear, structured, flexible. 2. using prompts for real work, like emails, slides, and documents. 3. Speeding up data work, smarter prompts for insights and analysis. 4. Getting creative, using roleplay, expert voices, and even prompting to design better prompts, metaprompting. By the end, you'll have your own personal library of prompts, ready to use across any task, any day. You'll also learn advanced techniques like prompt chaining, connecting outputs together into workflows; few-shot prompting, teaching AI by showing examples; metaprompting, designing prompts using AI itself. You can try it free for 7 days. And if you want the certification for LinkedIn or your resume, it's 49 months after that. If you're serious about mastering prompt engineering and unlocking your leverage, this course is the way in. Let's talk about the second big principle, chain of thought, or how both people and AI build clarity one layer at a time. Here's the mistake most people make. They think intelligence is just having answers ready on demand, fast memory, quick facts, instant outputs. But real intelligence? It's not memory, it's structure. It's the ability to take a fuzzy question and break it into steps, to zoom in, pause, reframe, build logic layer by layer. That's what makes someone genuinely sharp. And it's the same with advanced prompting. If first principles thinking is how you break problems apart, then chain of thought is how you build the solution back up. This is how human thinking actually works. We reflect, we question, we test, we adjust, we add one brick at a time. That process? It's not slow. It's scaffolded reasoning. It's what turns vague, scattered ideas into real, structured decisions. And the best part? AI now works in a similar way. Instead of dumping a giant prompt into a single request, you can stack your prompts step by step, with each one adding more context, more direction, more accuracy. This method is called prompt chaining. Let me walk you through it. Say you're creating a welcome sequence for new clients. You could just ask, write a full onboarding flow. Sure, you'll get something. But let's do it differently. Let's think in steps. 1. Start by asking, what are the 3 emotions a new client might feel in their first week? 2. Then ask, how can we help shift those feelings into trust, excitement, and confidence? 3. Next, write an email that reflects that emotional shift. Keep it short, warm, and specific. 4. After that, turn this message into a 1-minute audio note written in the founder's tone. 5. Finally, what automation or follow-up should we pair with this to increase replies or engagement? That's how we chain prompts in our business, not to make things harder but to stack clarity. Each step adds something. Each layer improves the next. Each decision builds smarter results. This isn't micromanagement, it's co-creation. You're not trying to control the AI. You're teaching it how to think like you, one step at a time. Now you might be wondering, didn't we just spend a whole section on writing long, detailed prompts using first principles? Yes, and that still holds. But here's the key. Prompt atoms and prompt chains are not in conflict. They're just different tools for different parts of your process. Use first principles when you're framing the big picture. Use chaining when you're refining it into pieces. They're both part of the same thinking system. So when you see short prompts here, it doesn't mean we skip depth. It means we're building the depth in layers. Let me show you a real-world example from our team. Every time we launch a new offer, or help a client build a system, or design a content growth strategy, we never start with, hey, write me the full plan. Instead, we start with questions. Who is this for? What's the emotional state of the person receiving it? What problem are we solving? What's the shift we want them to experience? What tools, channels, or steps make the most sense? And from there, we chain prompts to design better outcomes, faster, and with way less trial and error. Because prompt chaining is how you think in layers. It's how you reduce overwhelm, build context, and move with precision. When you master this, you stop reacting to complexity, and you start leading with clarity. Now let's go one level deeper. Because if first principles helps you define the core of a problem, and chain of thought helps you build structured solutions, then this next part is about thinking at the meta level, about designing your thinking process itself, using AI as a partner. Let's talk about the third principle, metaprompting. This is where things get interesting. Now let's talk about something most people never even consider. Thinking about how you think. Because once you've figured out the result you want and built a chain of prompts to get there, the next level isn't more prompts, it's building systems of thinking and using AI as a co-architect in that system. This is where metaprompting comes in. Let me explain it clearly. Metaprompting means using AI not just to do tasks, but to help you design the prompt itself. You're not asking for the answer. You're asking the AI, how do I ask better questions? You become partners in thought. This is how you shift from being a task runner to becoming a process builder. Instead of solving one issue at a time, you build frameworks that can solve dozens automatically. It's a shift from doing to designing. This is what used to be called metacognition, thinking about your thinking. Socrates did it through questioning. Great coaches do it through feedback. You do it every time you pause and ask yourself, what am I really trying to solve here? Now in the AI era, this becomes metaprompting, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. Instead of typing instructions into the AI, you start asking it to help design the instructions with you. Let's say you want to build something, maybe a lead magnet in Notion or a short-form video in InVideo. Instead of just saying, make this for me, you ask, what kind of data or details do you need from me to do this better? What structure would be most effective for this kind of project? Can you generate the ideal prompt I should use in this tool? You're designing the design layer. You're not just requesting, you're collaborating. And that's where things start to compound, because you're no longer guessing what the best prompt is. You're building it together with intelligence. This is what we do in our business all the time. We use metaprompting when creating internal tools, building client automations, writing content strategies, launching new offers. Even when training junior team members on how to think clearly, it helps us move faster, make fewer mistakes, and skip the trial and error loop. If you've been paying attention, you've seen all three of these in action. 1. First principles, break it down to the core. 2. Chain of thought, build it back up step by step. 3. Metaprompting, improve how you think by thinking about the prompt itself. And once you combine all three, you stop chasing productivity. You start building power. Now here's the truth. Most people won't do any of this. They'll still treat ChatGPT like Google. They'll scroll TikTok for prompt hacks. They'll throw in a few words and hope something magical comes out. And when it doesn't, they'll blame the tool, not their own thinking. But you just unlocked a mindset shift that most people will never understand. You now see that prompting is not a shortcut. It's a discipline. It's the new language of intelligent work. The people who master it, who can design workflows, define outcomes, and build with structure, they're not going to be replaced. They're going to lead. So whether you're a solo builder, a strategist, a founder, or someone just trying to future-proof your skills, start here. Master how you think. Because in this new world, the edge doesn't go to people who work harder. It goes to people who ask better. And if you want to practice this with others, you can join our free AI community right now. Inside, we run 2 creative challenges every month. We host regular live sessions. And we share tools, resources, and prompt libraries you can actually use. Plus, it's just fun being around people who care about growing this skill. If you want to build alongside others on the same path, this is where we do it. And hey, if this video helped you see prompting differently, go ahead and hit like. It helps this reach more people. If you haven't yet, tap subscribe, because we're building way more content to help you level up your thinking. And if you know someone who's curious about prompting, send this to them. It might just change how they think. Until next time, go check out this next video over here. You'll love it, and I'll see you soon.